Thank you, sisters. It's good to have you and all that rocking. We've been rocking out here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Good morning and welcome for those of you joining us just a little bit late online because we didn't want to disturb all that good music. And it's casual Sunday, as you can see. We're getting ready for a picnic, so come join us at La Fortune Park, wherever you are across the continent. You can make it by 12 o'clock. Well, it's good to be back after my 2-week cruise with lots of stories to share. But today, I'm going to make kind of a bridge from where we were back in May. Back in April and May, we did a study of the book, How I Use Truth, by Dr. H. Emily Cady. It was written in the late 1890s, and it has been one of our Unity textbooks for all these years. And there's some important points that Dr. Cady made in her book. First and foremost, she told us that we need to see God as mystery, as an infinite mystery of an unfolding mystery that we will never, ever know everything about. We kind of tend to think that, well, we'll find all there is to know about God in the Bible or in some other tradition, but that is not true. It is a part of God, but it is not all of God, as God is ever evolving, ever revealing. And because we are created in the image and likeness of that God that is mystery, that is ever revealing, so too are we, the absolute mystery in expression, continually unfolding. I always find that interesting because, of course, we never know all about ourselves. There's always a moment when we think, gee, I didn't know I could do that, or I didn't know that about myself. And sometimes those are hard lessons, aren't they? Usually they are. But every now and then we have the opportunity to look at ourselves in a different perspective and realize that no matter how much we know about ourselves, there's always something more. And the second point she made was there's an intersection between the mystery with a capital M and the mystery that is within us, and that intersection she called the Christ, this place where the two meet, where the divine human and the human divine unfold to each other. Our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore, who was also a contemporary of Emily Cady, was healed of tuberculosis. And when she had that healing, after her healing, it took about 2+ years for her complete recovery. She said in a little pamphlet that she wrote, the way she found health was, she said, I talked to the intelligent life of my body. I talked to the intelligent life of my body. Over 120 years ago, these two women came to the table and said, this is the core and essence of life. This is the core and essence of healing. This is also it's on two levels. It's a physiological healing, and yet at the very same time, a spiritual healing as well. Segue to today. Today's modern medicine often talks about the mind-body-spirit connection. And, you know, for lots of years, we used to talk about the mind-body-spirit connection as sort of this bridge, almost like island hopping. We go from this mind to the body to the spirit to the body to the mind. But what science is telling us today is that that is not a linear road. In fact, it is almost like a superhighway in which every single cell participates in a conversation, an endless conversation that goes on in your entire body. Now, I've gotten to reflect on this, and I thought, isn't that interesting? Because I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people that see things sort of in boxes. If I eat something, I think about the conversation as being about my digestive tract. I don't think about it as being the cells maybe in my hand or something else that's happening in my body. But what science is telling us today is that this conversation on a cellular level is happening all the time, and every single cell, now think about how many trillions of cells are in your body. Every single cell is talking to every other cell. It's a really chatty group. But the point is, you need to be part of that conversation. Because no matter what you think, no matter what you say, and no matter what you do, those cells are listening all the time. And they are acting from that place of that conversation that is happening all the time. And unfortunately, we tend to discount our body, or we don't hear the message when it's a little message, ooh, ouch, I don't feel good. We have to wait until I need to get my arm cut off because it's such a big thing. When we think, gee, if I'd have listened, how many of you ever had that experience? If I just would have listened, 6 years ago, it would have been fine. But there's a conversation, and this is so important in our understanding of our bodies. What Emily Cady and Myrtle Fillmore talked about in a spiritual realm, today we're going to talk about in a very scientific, physical, physiological way. And next Sunday we're going to bring these two back together for some more understanding of how we embody spirit. But for today, I want you to think about this cellular conversation. Something is going on deep within all of us all the time, 24/7, consistently. And somehow these cells, just as Myrtle Fillmore said 120 years ago, is intelligent. Do you ever think of that fact? When you hurt yourself, your body knows what to do. When you're hungry, your body knows what to do. When you're grieving, your body knows what to do. Somehow this body of ours is a magical, mystical event that is going through space and time. So I have an exercise for you. One that you probably may have heard before, maybe even have done before, but I want you to do it a little bit differently. It's called Look in the Mirror. Now, maybe some of you have done this psychological, emotional kind of work before. And what that psychological, emotional assignment would be is to look in the mirror and look yourself into the eyes and give yourself love and appreciation. Now, for many people, that is a very, very difficult assignment to do. That is not the assignment I'm talking about today. It's a good one. It's an important one. It's part of our ongoing healing and part of our ongoing emotional, psychological journey. But I want to talk about our physiological journey. When you look in the mirror, what is it that you see? I'm going to challenge you to see a dynamic reality. I'm going to charge you to see something very different than maybe you've ever seen before. I want you to look in the mirror and see three things. First of all, fluidity. Our bodies are fluid. Your body, my body, is not the same body that I had even yesterday. As hard and all as that is for me, because it looks the same, I've got pictures of yesterday, took 3 selfies, I know what I looked like yesterday. I see it more over a span of time, don't we? Over a couple of weeks or a couple of months, how it's different. But the reality is our bodies are a flow. We talk often about spiritually. We are in the flow. Our bodies are in that flow. Science tells us today that we are 50 to 60% water in the flow, in literal physical reality. And it depends on our age, it depends on our sex, it depends on our lean muscle mass as to how much water we actually are. But the thought that we are fluid and it experiences as water, when you are thirsty, your body is saying, give me more of that fluid. I want to be more in the flow. Secondly, energy. This is something I don't know that we really appreciate all that much. And the science tells us today that we are energy and space. The two go together. 99% of our body is space. Now think of that. There's a distance between every cell. There's a difference between every heartbeat. There's a distance between every breath. There's a distance between every movement. There's a distance between every thought. 99% of who and what you are. You and I look in the mirror and I say this rock solid person. I lean against the counter feels solid, I feel solid, and so my head interprets that to be, this body is just solid. But what science is telling us today is it is not solid. It is 99% space. 1% holds it all together. 1% is the energy, or what we might say in unity, the consciousness of your body. And we all know about this energy, whether we are really able to articulate it or not, whenever we don't feel well. We have a cold, we have, just a general discomfort, maybe we're emotionally upset. This 1% is actually 100%. And it is allocated resources. Think Windows 10 on your computer. It is allocating resources to the various programs that you are running. And when you are running a program that isn't working too well, it takes all of your resources and all of the allocations, and you say, my computer's running slow. What's really happening is that your body knows what it needs. And therefore, it's saying, okay, I have 100% energy here, but I need 99% of it for healing. And have you ever noticed, especially when you have really a bad cold, a flu, or either you've been in the hospital, I noticed this when I had surgery many years ago. It's that my brain went to lunch. I would sit there and I decided that I was going to be such a model patient. And I had all these magazines that I hadn't read, so that after I had the surgery, I would just sit there and, heal and read all my People magazines and all this kind of stuff. And I remember about the second day home, I'd been through the whole pile of magazines, and I thought, did I read that? And I thought, no, wait a minute, this was just yesterday. How could I forget so quickly that I had sat and looked through all these magazines? They were just pictures anyway. They weren't very long stories. I'd read even all the advertisements. But that's when I began to realize that the body has taken all of that energy, and it says, you don't need to think right now. What you need to do is heal. And as long as you need to heal, then you're going to give me that energy, or I'm going to put you down, because, you see, I was smart. I knew that I could spiritually ascend a healing process, and my body said, oh no, we're not going to do it that way. You're going to get bronchitis and pleurisy at the same time, so that you will really understand that you are not in charge of this program. And I'm like, well, fine. Then I was really sick. And I thought, what is going on here? But I began to understand. My doctor told me, and I've always thought, that was so strange. He said, Marianne, he said, what you're going to notice is about every 3 months, it'll take a year to heal. Well, I knew he was obviously unenlightened for that comment. And he said, but what you're going to notice about every 3 months is that you're going to start to feel a little better, and you're going to start to kind of respond a little more. You're going to be more alert. I thought, okay, I don't know what that exactly means, but sure enough, about the end of the 3rd month, I thought, wow, somebody turned the lights on in this building. And about the end of the 6 months, I began to feel better. And about the end of the 8th month, I thought, wow, I can stay up past 5 o'clock in the evening. And, it was just, not that I do much more than that, but, it was really this sense of my body was releasing the energy hold. It's like, if you've ever gone to a hotel and they put a hold on your credit card, you have to release it. Right? They have to release it. And so the body is slowly but surely releasing. So energy, and being aware of our energy when our energy is down, when we are emotional. And that goes for emotional too. When we are emotionally upset, energy gets pulled. It's all energy to the body. All right? The third thing is, as you stand there and you look at your body, understand that your body is an idea. It is a concept. And it was created at the beginning of all creation. Your body wasn't just created at the moment of your conception. Your body is a DNA. Your body is the evolution of the idea in divine mind, the Big Bang Theory, I don't care what you want to call it, but your body carries the evolutionary story of humanity and what it means to be human. And so when we stand and we look in the mirror, all too often what we do is we stand there and we say, well, this isn't right, or that isn't right, or my hair is this, or, whatever. And we lose the sense of appreciation that this incredible, magical, mystical body is all of these things going on at one time. Lately, in the last 20 years, we've done a lot of studies on genes. It used to be that we believed, that science believed, science taught, that you had a genetic gene pool, and that's who you were. In other words, your parents had this gene, and your mom and dad had these genes, and together they're these genes, and that's your package of genes. And so what we would say are things like, I inherited an illness because of my genes. You know, my parents were prone to heart attacks, so I have the genes in my body. I need to pay attention to those genes. But what science is telling us today is yes and. Yes and. Our genes certainly do hold a lot about our physical stories, but it's only, they say, 97%. That other 3% reminds us that our genetic pool is fluid. Our DNA is fluid. Our evolving and our evolution is fluid. And I can't help but think how, if there's this conversation going on, that all of the time our DNA is talking to our genes are talking to our cells are talking to each other, our systems, our respiratory, our digestive, our mental, all of these systems are working and talking all at the same time. The other thing I've noticed, and I'm reading more and more about, is that our cells, because they are intelligent life, that Myrtle Fillmore told us 120 some years ago, is that they know what to do. Our cells know how to heal themselves. Our cells know when they've had enough. Our cells know how to be resistant because they're fluid. Our cells know how to take care of us. The problem is, we don't engage the conversation. And I was really struck by that comment, because if our bodies are, every cell of my body, every cell of your body knows exactly what to do to promote life with a capital L, then why is there aging, sickness, and illness? Because we're not listening. The body is telling us something, saying, that's enough, and we keep eating. Don't do that again, and we keep doing it. And so we override our bodies. Now think about this. Why should we be obese? Why should we have addictions? Why should we, we all have our stuff, and that's true. But basically at the core of it is this disconnecting that we do as human beings from the conversation that is happening biologically all the time. We are programmed to survive. We are programmed to live. We are programmed for the good. And what we struggle with, and what we struggle continually with, is number one, listening to it, because it's like, but I'm still hungry. Oh, I don't want to do that. I'll take the risk. I'll do this. I'll stay up late. I'll do, whatever it might be. And the body's going, no, stop. And we go, I'm busy now. I'll think about it later. And we all do it in some way, shape, or form. And so what happens over the course of time is the body keeps resisting, the body keeps being resilient, the body keeps stretching, the body keeps trying to make adjustments for all that is coming in until finally it snaps and says, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot hold on to it anymore. And so we struggle with this conversation. So I've been wondering lately, for myself and for others, is as I stand and look in the mirror, and I look at the image and likeness of mystery, a mystery that I will never, ever be able to solve. It's not a puzzle that, I get to the end and I get points for solving. It's a mystery that is ever revealing and unfolding. And it's not just unfolding through a spiritual network or even a mental network. It's unfolding in the cross currents of this transformational, informational highway that's going on all the time within my body? Can I stand there and really, really be aware? There's a practice, it seems to me, that's should be part of our spiritual practice, that here we are looking and viewing and seeing this wholeness, this energy, this divine idea that carries with me, carries with all of you, the genetic information, the intense and incredible story of the spiritual journey, of the human journey as it intersects. So my question to myself and my question to you today, when you look in the mirror and you say, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to try to see my body. Pretend like you got those 3D glasses on. I'm going to try and see my body as fluid. I'm going to try and understand my body as energy. I'm going to try to engage my body as a divine idea, carrying the evolutionary story. To recognize that at any one point in time, there is a conversation going on in your body 24/7 between every single cell, every single DNA structure, every single gene that is in your pool bank at all. And yet, it is we who do not listen. It is our challenge. It is our journey. Both our biological human journey and our spiritual journey. To listen to the gift that is inherent within being embodied. Thank you for joining me today, and God bless.